Hey there, Wei T. Lightheart from the Prosperity and Health Alliance. I want to welcome you to the webinar today. And we'll be talking about 5 keys to building a successful business. And it's a question I get all the time. And, I think people get started in, either direct sales or get an online or even a brick and mortar business. And the reality is they'll have maybe 1 or 2 of these keys, but they don't have all of these keys. And the challenge with that is they think that their opportunity or that their business or that something isn't fruitful or isn't going, but if you actually break it down, there is an issue. And that is that they're missing one of these keys. So today I want to share with you some of the keys to kind of trigger something that you can use or you can leverage in your own business, and to kind of think through this in a way that will allow you to grow your business. Because oftentimes you can kind of get by having maybe 1 or 2 of these keys, but if you want to have a great business, then you're going to want to incorporate all 5 of these things. And then there's a little piece at the end I want to talk about, which is how do you do that? Okay, so let's get into it. I think the first thing that is really important about building yourself a truly great business, and this is where most people starts off, and that is having a vision of your life, and a vision of what the business is going to do, and a vision about how you're going to get there or who people you want to impact. And I think a lot of people lose sight of their vision. And when they lose sight of their vision, they let the obstacles that inevitably come up kind of shortchange them and stop them from being successful. And so there's a process, and I talk about this a lot. I talk about this in Traction. I use a business book by Gino Wickman called Traction, and I recommend that everybody go out and buy that book because they have an amazing process of going from, it's called a Vision Traction Organizer, your VTO. And basically it takes you through a process that you can implement over time to take a vision and to implement this into a system of making that vision come happen, and also growing your business without pulling all your hair out. Because everybody has to realize is that business is about solving problems, and ideally it's solving problems at a profit, but that profit doesn't come till a ways down the road. So setting out your vision, being as clear, as specific as possible, and revisiting that vision at least every year, and better probably every 90 days. And one of the things that you can do is you can do a 10-year vision, a 3-year vision, a 1-year vision, and then you break that down into the next 90-day sprint. Because if you know the big picture and then you work backwards. So back when I was in the, when I wanted to be a bodybuilding champion and I was 15 years old, I wanted to compete at the Mr. Universe contest. And I did this process and I didn't realize it till later on. And that was, I wanted to compete at the Mr. Universe contest, but to compete at the Mr. Universe contest, you had to win a national championship. To win a national championship, you had to win a regional like a Western Canadians or something like that, or an Atlantic championships. And to win that, you had to go to a provincial championship, and to win that, you needed to win a local show. And to win a local show, you needed to have the muscles and the physique and the fitness thing. And so that's how I worked backwards from it. Now, to get that final goal, it took me 10 years to win my first contest. It took me 16 years to win my first national championship and actually get to the world championships. After that, I could do it at will, basically. But that's how long it took me to implement that process. So with a big long-term vision, I think it's more than a lot of people say, oh, I want to make $5,000 a month, or I want to make $10,000 a month. Well, everybody wants to make a certain amount of money, but is that a real vision? No, that's more of a result that you're looking for, a benefit to the vision. And so what I encourage people to do is to really think forward of the vision. What does your day look like? Who are the people you're interacting with? How are you impacting the world? What is your message to the world? And summarizing what you do, because you get that question where at the place like, what do you do? Right? And you want to get really clear. So it's clear and simple. And that's a process that takes time. So in one of my businesses, for example, it took us a long time to finally get there. And it's like, we fix digestion. That's what we do. People get that. Now, there's a lot of things to get to that process, but what do? We fix digestion, right? So it might be, I set people free financially, or I improve people's health. It can be the simpler and more, it's more powerful. Simple is powerful. So getting a clear vision, 10-year, 3-year, 1 year, and then the next 90 days, and keep revisiting, because sometimes your vision will change. And I can't tell you how many very successful people said, I just want to make an extra $300 a month, $500 a month. And then when they got that, they're like, well, I just want to make an extra $1,000 a month. And then it was like, well, then after that, it was like, so the vision changed as the confidence built up. The next thing, this is something that a lot of people really don't put any time into, and that is marketing. You have got to market your product, and marketing can be everything from telling people about it but the bottom, actually, that's essentially what it is. How are you getting the word out in your business, in your life, that you're able to solve people's problems? Whether it's a financial problem, whether it's a health problem, whatever the problem is that you solve, that your business solves. So number one, you want to identify, who's my market? Well, my market has a particular problem or challenge, right? Or they have a particular ambition that they're going for. Okay, once you establish that, well, how do I fill that? How do I find those people? And how do I tell them about what I'm doing? That's marketing. And there's an old saying that if you're trying to market to everybody, you're marketing to nobody. So get clear about the type of people that you want to deal with. And because if you're not, you're going to deal with a whole bunch of people that you don't want to deal with, and your business isn't going to be any fun. So a lot of people, when they get started out, they'll take anybody. They got a heartbeat, particularly if you're in affiliate marketing, direct sales, these type of things. And the more successful you become, the more rigid you become about qualifications for who you work with. And that's just a normal evolution of business. But the clearer that you get about that to start off, the way easier your business is. And then taking that and start marketing to people that message. And that message might not work at first. You might be sending a marketing message that doesn't get traction. And so you go, oh, okay. So you try that for 3 months, and then you try another marketing message, you try another thing till you hit the right spot. You see, you have to realize these are what's called adaptive changes and challenges in business. And it's very difficult, those early stages, to figure out who your market is, to figure out what's the messaging for them, and then how to find those people. That's what marketing is all about. So it's not enough to become a distributor of this or become an affiliate of that or whatever, or open up a brick and mortar coffee shop. It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter the business. Once you get that set up, now you got to go out and tell the world. And this is something I didn't understand early on in my career, back when I was a personal trainer in 1998. I didn't understand marketing. And then I remember my business partner, I started a business with him a few years later in 2004. And I did all mine by just referral marketing. People saw me, they saw me in the gym. I was really fit, and I had very successful clients. And that's how people found out about me, but just word of mouth. I didn't know anything about marketing. But then in 2004, my business partner taught me, he took me on, he mentored me about marketing. And I was always shocked at him. I remember asking him one day, he's like, is that all you think about is marketing? Because he would notice the signs that were out on the things. He would notice the messages that was on the radio. He would look at all these different things, the labels on items. And he would talk about market. And I was like, is that all you see? He goes, dude, it's everywhere. We're getting messages everywhere. And, like, look at here, this is marketing, right? This is everywhere I wear this shirt. Somebody sees this shirt, sees this brand.
Now, if you look at this, right, you look at Boss, for example. This is a great example. I mean, Hugo Boss. Now, the letters are very simple. If you look at the biggest corporations in the world, it's very simple and very clear messages. So we can learn from that. We can learn from the most successful businesses out there. What are they doing, and what is that message that people are getting? And what is that idea? So if you look at that, and how do you simplify your message about what you're doing, and how do you reach more people? And when you can reach more people the old-fashioned way, you go knock on doors, you can send out emails, you can get on social media, you can send out flyers, you could go to an event where people are going, you could network at things, you can buy lists. There's a whole bunch of ways that you can market, but you need to start learning about it. And if you're having trouble getting new customers, and most people end up having this problem at some point, you need to study and learn about marketing and find out how you get more customers in your business, okay? That's essential aspect of marketing. And by the way, just so you know, most industries, you need to be adding somewhere between 10 and 15% new customers every month. You need to be adding 10 to 15% new customers per month. You're like, what? Yeah, because if you're not, because old customers are dropping off. So if you're not bringing in those new customers, well, guess what? Your business is actually dying, and you don't know this. And this is what happens to a lot of people. A lot of people will, let's say they get started in an affiliate marketing, or they get started in direct sales of some sort or something like that. Or they open up a brick and mortar, and all their friends come, if they're a coach or personal trainer, like all their friends come, and their warm market or that sort of people kind of get word of it, and they start out and they get a little boost to sales and things are good. And then but then that dies off. And then they're like, okay, how do I get new customers? But they don't have any marketing ability. They don't know how to go and attract new customers. So that's why you need to know that, okay? Now, next thing. In order for you to go from an itty-bitty business to a medium-sized business to a large business, and that's not always a jump that everybody wants to make. So I would say that most businesses, you can probably make $100,000 a year, or the proverbial $10,000 a month. That's kind of the magic number these days, $10,000 a month. I talk to entrepreneurs, by the way, people who want to join my business virtually every single week. And the number one amount of money that people want is $10,000 a month. Okay. So you can make $100,000 a year, or 10,000, like a six-figure income. You can make that without a system. You can make that on hustle and sales ability, or just pure hustle. Even if you suck at sales, you can make $100,000 a year if you're in the right vehicle. You don't need a system. You don't need a strategy. You don't need a great message. You just need to go out. You can just go duke it out, talk to everybody, and you'll get there. But after that, what happens is you start running into a time crunch, because all of us as entrepreneurs have a problem, and that is there's only 168 hours a week. And you can only work 60 hours, 70 hours a week for so long before you hit burnout, right? Now, there are a rare few people that can do that 80, 90, 100 hours a week. And guess what? They're not on this webinar. They're not on this webinar because they're working. You know, the Gary Vaynerchuks of the world, they got it. They're hustling their way to millions, and they're not stopping. And those guys, by the way, are learning systems, the top ones. So when you're making the jump to say 100,000 to let's say $250,000, you're going to have to start implementing systems. And if you don't implement systems, you'll never make $1 million a year.
It's not going to happen. You've got to have a system. So whether that system is done for you by the group that you're working with, but you're still going to have to implement some kind of time management system, or some people would say a priority management system. So there's an analysis that you can do. It's called 80-20 analysis, okay? So this guy that came up with Pareto that had the 80-20 rule, and that is this, okay? So if you look at your business, you look at all the actions that you're doing in a business, write it down, write down all the actions that you're doing, okay? There's probably, let's say there's 10 things you're doing in your business. I'm just going to use this number. Well, if you apply Pareto's law, 8 of those things aren't making you money, and 20% is making you money. 20% of those actions in the business are making you money. 80%, you're just wasting your time. So if you look at what is the biggest money-making activity that you can't farm out, or that your number one skill is, you want to be doing that. The 20%, you want to be doing the 20% that brings you the most revenue. So let's say that you had some scheduling. Let's say you got a set schedule, and you're not good at scheduling, and you got to book all these people, and you got to book these appointments that you're going to talk to people and get a scheduling system and all that stuff, right? And you're spending, let's say, 8 hours a week trying to book people, spending time on, and this is maybe not the best example, but you get the idea. You're spending 8 hours a week trying to organize your calendar and see when you're going to meet Bob and Mary and Fred and all this sort of stuff. Okay. And it's taking up, all these hours a week, 10 hours a week, but it takes you 1 hour to do a sales presentation. So which would make more sense? If you hired and a sales presentation brings you, a successful sale brings you in, let's say $1,000. We'll use that simple. So a successful 1 hour presentation can bring you in $1,000, and you're spending, we're going to use this, 10 hours just managing scheduling. And scheduling is not just your work, it's scheduling to go pick up the kids, and when you go to the dentist, and making phone calls to organize your plane tickets and get your car rentals, or whatever it is that you're doing, right? You're spending 10 hours doing mundane tasks that you could hire somebody out for, that could do that for $10 an hour. It would be $100 would do that same task. And yet it's $1,000 if you do a 1 hour presentation. So let's say your closing rate is 30%. Okay. You close out of 10 people, that means you close 30%. So let me do this exercise with you. So if I spent 10 hours in meetings, I would make $3,000 based on that formula. Hey, that's pretty good. But if I spend 10 hours in scheduling, right, I saved myself $100. You see the problem here? So if I keep booking more people, let's say I'm handling my booking and organizing my life, and I'm making more money, I'm going to have more appointments. I could, if I booked 20 hours, if I doubled up on my work, on my clerical duties, and went to 20 hours a week, I'd save myself $200. But if I doubled up on my sales calls, I would go from making $3,000 to $6,000 based on the closing rates that I'm getting. So which thing does it seem to make more sense to be doing? Should I be scheduling, or should I be doing closing calls? Well, when you do this little exercise in your business and you go through each one of your tasks that you write, so you write out all the tasks that you do in a business and how much time you're spending on each one of those tasks, and then how much it would take to hire people out to do that. This is where you develop a system. You see? Oh, you know what? I can get a schedule once calendar, set aside, take an hour of my time, right? Schedule once is a digital plan. It costs me $30 a month. $30 a month. Someone wants to book with me. I've already blocked off the times that I have available. I send them a link. They book it. It automatically comes on my calendar. Right? Easy. Now, how much time did I spend on it? I spent, 2 hours to set it up. And now I never have to worry about trying to figure out when to book somebody into it. In fact, I can give that calendar to my wife. I can give that calendar to the assistant at the dentist's office. I can give that calendar to my assistant, who can then start booking me my appointments. Okay, Wade's got time at 2:30 to 3:30 on Friday, and he said that he needs a dentist appointment. We'll go there. Or he needs to go to the bank. I'm going to call the bank and make. Now I hired somebody for say $20 an hour to do that, and that frees up more of my time. And if I free up more of my time, now I have more energy, more enthusiasm to go to more closing calls. Well, now let's say in that scenario, the other 10 hours a week or the other big, high task is finding new customers. So again, I've reduced my work time from 10 hours a week to say $20 a week. It's costing me $20 a week, and I'm only spending 30 minutes. So that gives me an extra 9.5 hours. So I'm going to take 4 of those hours, and I'm going to spend those on learning how to grow my customer base, to market better. You see? Because I know that if I'm increasing my business, I'm spending time on marketing and growing my business, I'm going to make a lot more money. I'm going to have a lot more people coming in. And if I don't spend that time, my business is going to die. Follow what I'm saying? That's the start of a system. Then you might be looking at, maybe you've got other people in your organization and you've got a system that works. So what do? You train the people in your system, the system that you're using. Why? Because that increases the efficiency in their business. So you set a regular training call. The reason we have the Prosperity and Health Alliance calls, the reason that I have regular webinars in the Wealthy Backpacker, the reason that I have regular sales calls by optimizers in these businesses that I'm running is because I've built systems so that I do what I'm great at. And it's constantly evolving. And when I get an area that it's sucking on my time or sucking on my energy, my RAM, what do? I go, okay, we do 80-20 analysis. This is a waste of my time. This isn't a great way to go. Who can I hire? What's a system I can buy? Can I buy a course? Can I get an expert? I'll hire an expert that costs, like, for example, getting new customers. So I'll give you another example of building a system. So for example, I found that speaking on stage is the right event, whether that's an audio event, a video event, like a webinar, or whether it's speaking to a live audience of, say, 1,000 people or 100 people. I generally can make a lot of money in those events, like really good, because that's a passion of mine. It's something I've been doing for a long time. It's something that I'm good at. So, but I didn't have a system built in place for getting on more of those quote unquote stages. So what did I do? I hired a guy who is a world-class expert in getting that. It cost me, get this, $40,000 to hire this person. And it cost me another probably $60,000 for staffing and going to events for training and to go through it's $100,000 investment. So I spent $100,000 with one guy before I got a booking. Okay, $100,000. Now, the $100,000. One of the things that he told me was to hire this group that could book me on podcasts. So we hired them. It cost us another $2,500 a month, and I do 10 podcasts a month. 10 from that, and I make on average more than $250 a podcast. So it's way better, right? And that also gets the message out and gets me to other people and opens up other things. So it's a great business. Second thing, after 6 months working with this person. They just booked a stage where I'm going to speak to 1,000 like nutritionists in an area. They booked 1,000 people. So there's going to be 1,000 of my perfect clients. These clients typically make my business anywhere between $20,000 and $50,000 a year, just one of these people. So you're going to get to why we're talking about this system. I'm not here to brag about this or to talk about it, but I'm just trying to show you how important this is. So he landed this stage with 1,000 people. This is Pareto's Law again. I spent $100,000 to get this person, okay? And so next year I got this stage with 1,000 people. Let's say I close 10% of those people and they average me $20,000 over the next year in business. 10%, so 100 people join my business. Do you know how much money that is? That's $2 million. $2 million. Now, I spent $100,000 and I won't get that for 2 years. 24 months. But I'm going to ask you the question, is that worth it? Of course it is, because there's a system. And guess what? He's teaching my team the system. So we're paying him, we're learning this, and we have a system for going out and marketing to these stages and getting to these events. And we've learned a lot and we've got implementation on it, and we're very excited about that. But it's work. That's building a system. Same thing with the customer service. I created a system in another company that I have, and we built systems. And then we had to do that. We got systems for marketing. We got systems for operations. We got systems for everything. And as your business grows bigger and bigger and bigger, you just develop. So anytime that you have to do a repeatable process over and over and over again, take the time, build a standard operating procedure of how you want that done, and get someone else to do it so that you can focus on the parts that make the most amount of money, the most amount of impact. And that is going to be marketing and sales. So which leads us to the next part of our presentation. I hope you're enjoying this. 5 keys to the successful business. First one's vision. Second one was marketing. Third one was systems. The fourth piece, salesmanship. Salesmanship is huge, huge. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't like sales. I think that's so funny because everything is sales. Every time you open your mouth, you are communicating something to somebody. It could be bad, it could be good, but you are selling them on an idea. Even if you're like calling somebody out or cursing them down, you're trying to sell them on an idea that they suck. That sounds brutal. Or you're trying to communicate something to your partner or to your kids or to your boss or to your staff, let alone communicating something to a new prospect where you can solve a problem for them, right? Or a challenge for them. All of that is sales. All of it's sales. So if you have an issue with sales, you don't have an issue with sales. You have an issue with life. You got to reach out and say, and get yourself on, you got to get yourself some communication training. What you're really saying if you don't like sales is I'm a bad communicator. I don't know how to talk to people properly. Okay, that's fine. Just admit it. And you know what? You can learn through the process of sales of how to communicate in an eloquent and efficient manner. In other words, you can learn the process of communicating effectively and efficiently and eloquently, because sales at the highest level, right? Communication at the highest level makes people feel great. They make people feel good, makes people feel awesome. You've had an experience, maybe at a restaurant, maybe when you purchased a car, maybe when you bought your own home, maybe when you had some experience, you went to a hotel. It doesn't matter. And someone made you feel amazing. You purchased something, you felt good about the experience, you enjoyed the process, you tipped the person, you thanked the person, and you said to your spouse, your favorite person that you're with or whatever, you said, wow, you know, that lady was amazing. I felt so good. That is sales at the highest level. Now, who wouldn't want to communicate? Who wouldn't want to communicate like that? Who wouldn't want to be able to communicate their ideas and their values and their stuff in a way that made people feel amazing? Of course you do. Everybody wants to do. So this idea of what people don't want to be is people don't want to be a bad salesperson. People don't want to be bad at sales. They don't want to be the sleazy, dirty, greasy, grimy, make you feel gross salesperson. We've all had that experience too. And if you hate sales, I'm going to have a news flash for you. If you hate sales or uncomfortable with sales, you're that person. You're the greasy, grimy, bad communication person. And you don't even know it. And that's why you feel uncomfortable. And that's hard to hear. But the best salespeople I know, they have a ton of friends. They have amazing lives. And they're really, really good at getting their ideas across to people. And they live an extraordinary life. So a couple sales things out there. I love, if you want to get into a really straight, like the straight sale, go to Jordan Belfort's Straight Line Persuasion. Grant Cardone has a lot of great stuff on this. But just get started with Zig Ziglar, Secrets of Clothing the Sale. You can get Robert Cialdini. That's a great one. Persuasion, his book Persuasion, probably one of the foundational books for how to communicate or how people's brains work and how to communicate with them. Learning Neuro-Linguistic Programming. We have a running joke in my house, of course. Krista, my girlfriend, she always knows who I was talking to before after I come home from them or if I'm on the phone. Because what happens, I've studied so much NLP, my voice will start to sound like that person. My mannerisms, my work, it's automatic now. I don't even know because it's just an automatic adjustment that my body works. And even if you can take a bus ride, they've proven this. You can take a bus ride, get on a bus. If you drive on the bus for like 6 or 7 hours, or actually even an hour or 30 minutes, the people on the bus will actually all start sitting and moving the same way. Like people just naturally, it's called mirroring. So you need to know how to mirror and how to communicate your ideas in a way that's effective. And Tony Robbins is really good at this. He's a master at that process. So salesmanship, and that's different than sales. Salesmanship is the art of eloquently communicating your ideas in a way that offers value to yourself, value to the people that you're communicating with. And if you do that, you're going to feel great about your life. Okay. Next key. So that was key number 4. Next one is determination. This is something that is really, really important. I can't tell you how important having determination is, because no matter what business you decide to do, no matter what you set out in life, if it's worthwhile, you're going to hit some obstacles, you're going to hit some challenges. If you are going to reach your fullest potential as a person, as a human being, you're going to meet massive challenges, because the people who succeed at the highest levels, the people that live the most amazing lives, the people that most of us look up to and admire, have faced an incredible amount of obstacles, and they overcame them through determination. Now, that doesn't just mean beating your head against the wall. It means being determined in your effort, but also looking for new ways. That was something that I had to learn later on in my business career. Is like, it wasn't enough just to work harder than everybody else, because there's a limit on that. Again, you only have so many hours a week. We go back to that hour problem again. So it's like, how do I become more effective? How do I become better at what I do? How do I become a better salesperson, a better communicator, a better marketer, a better organizing? Or the final level of that, which is kind of added on to determination, is who do I know? Who are the people I can bring into my vision? Who are the people that I can bring to this? And that's the final piece. This is beyond the 5th key, is the people, because almost nobody out there is good at vision, marketing, systems, salesmanship, and determination. You might be good at one, maybe two of those things. Vision, I think, is very important, because or even being able to communicate a bigger vision, right? So let's say you're into Make-A-Wish Foundation. Well, you didn't come up with the idea Make-A-Wish Foundation. Somebody else did. But you might be really passionate about that. So you communicate this to other people. You use marketing, you use salesmanship to communicate the idea of, hey, Make-A-Wish Foundation is a great thing and I want to contribute to it, right? You see what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. You don't necessarily have to have the vision. A lot of people think you got to be a visionary like Tesla or, Richard Branson or one of those guys. No, you don't necessarily have to do that. You can buy into other people's visions and just market it, right? Sell people on the idea of that vision because you're so passionate about it. It makes a lot of sense to you. But going back to this determination, overcoming the obstacles in your life, this is where the growth is. This is what's uncomfortable for a lot of people, to be able to persist against something where it's not working out. You're spending your time, you're spending your energy, you're spending your money. The people in your sphere of influence are thinking, I don't know if it's going to work. They may be challenging you. They may be creating issues for that. Uncertainty can come up. Fear can come up. All kinds of stuff. And the bottom line is, if you're out reaching out there and you're doing this and you're taking care of this, then and you're determined, I'm going to do this no matter what. I'm going to find a better way. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to work smarter. I'm going to find the right people. I'm going to get the right connections. I'm going to learn the right strategy. If you have that attitude, you will be as successful. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. You can't fail. So that's the beauty of this program, okay? Determination. Determination will actually offset almost every single piece in this category. And if you look at the history, read autobiographies, and you'll see that most of the people who do really great things are incredibly determined people. And then the final piece, which is outside the 5 keys, is the people. You need to go through your business and look at the vision, look at the marketing, look at the systems, look at the salesmanship, and see how determined you are. I hope you're determined. If you're here, you're determined. But then go through each one of these pieces and do a real Pareto's law, assess the things that are wasting your time, assess the things that you're good at, and find the right people who are amazing at that particular area that you're not so good at. Whether you hire them directly, whether you buy their courses so you can at least learn the basics of their system, whatever it takes, do that. Get the right people, hire the right people, hire the right consultants, get the right people working for you. If you have an affiliate program or a direct sales program, make sure you got a good screening level to make sure that you get the right people in your organization or that promoting your products and services. And if you have a company, make sure your hiring process, you can go to a book called Top Grading to learn how to actually select the right candidates and the right people for your organization, because the right people can change everything and the wrong people will ruin a great thing. The right people can change everything and the wrong people can ruin anything. That's really what it comes down to. So that's the 5 keys to success: vision, marketing, systems, salesmanship, and determination. Packages over some Pareto's law to kind of figure out which of the areas that you need to work on, and then get the right people in place, hire the right people, associate with the right people, and bring in the right people into your life, and your life will transform. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have a comment, please leave a post. We did a Facebook Live and all that sort of stuff. We'd love to hear from you. And I appreciate your time. Appreciate it. Reach out to me, WadeLightheart.net, Prosperity and Health Alliance, ByOptimizer.com, Wealthy Backpacker, any one of those things. Love to hear from you. Take care.